What a day Saturday, really for the whole Texas football team, but the offense continued to put points up on the board and yards, over 600 yards of total offense. Co-offensive coordinator Bryan Harsin joins us now. And Bryan, we're going to talk about the whole game, but you can't get around it. I mean, the staff obviously couldn't spend too much time on just one play, but it was bigger than just one play. You know, how did you guys come up with that play? I mean, was it a staff deal? Did you guys sit down, and how did it evolve?
Well, obviously we got talked with Coach Brown about what we wanted to do to honor Coach Royal, and we got the news, sat down and talked about the formation and some ideas and things like that. We had some plays going into this game. That one in particular, a little bit different formation and a different way to do it.
Yeah.
And so, as we kind of looked at it, we started to draw up how it would work, out of that formation there and who we wanted to use as the personnel. And so as it just evolved in practice that week, we looked at it when we put in that day, and we looked at it the next day and thought, okay, this is going to be pretty good. And what were the things that would happen to cause a problem there, and how can we get out of it? Shipley's been very good when you put him back there, and he's a guy that's made good decisions in those types of situations. And so we felt like it was a go, and those guys have practiced it really well.
Well, you already knew this, but it's funny, the more you look at these spread concepts, it shows you how brilliant what DKR and Emory Bellard brought up, because really it's a lot of the same principles, is it not?
Absolutely. When you start to see some highlights, more and more highlights that they played on film, with Coach Royal and what he did and just the different ways that he utilized the backs back there. We saw a reverse, that I know came later in his career and all that, but there's a lot of things in there. The triple option, you see it now. You see it in shotgun formation,
right,
is what you see.
Right.
And so it's all back. It all comes back and cycles around, and so that's just another way I think that offense has evolved from that. It's just been done a little bit differently.
No, the reaction on the sideline was priceless. You could tell that obviously extremely ecstatic, but also a little relieved. There was a lot of pressure on just one play, and DKR above everyone would have said, look, if it goes incomplete, it's okay. Even if it's pick six, it's just one play. With that said, sometimes the press box can feel a little stagnant. What was the reaction like up there? Was there a lot of energy and emotion up there?
There was. We obviously got the punt return in that part of the field there.
Yeah.
There was some discussion, and it was like, let's go, let's do it. And really to give the credit where credit is due to the players that had to execute it. They knew what it meant, and they knew the type of pressure that was going to come with that particular play. And Greg Daniels being the one receiving it, Shipley and David having to execute it like the way they did. Those guys did a great job. And just to watch it evolve from upstairs, you could see it was going to happen to David. It was going to be successful at least there. And then the throw down the field, it seemed like it took forever to get down there, and Greg brought it in, and it was a great play and a great tribute, and everybody's excited about it.
Yeah, a great moment. Well, you did have 76 other offensive plays, and just like play number one, a lot of them were pretty successful. David Ash, 25 of 31 for 364 yards and 2 touchdowns. When you look at David on film from this game, what stands out?
Well, I think number one, he made great decisions in the game. We felt like we had some things dialed up, pretty sound. We knew we were going to go with the ball. He had studied throughout the week, felt very confident about what he was doing. But there was a few plays in there where he had to make some split-second decisions, and he did a great job. And really at that position, don't turn the ball over. Be as accurate as you can when you're throwing the ball down the field. Get it to your playmakers. That's what we asked him to do, and so he did that. And one in particular, the one he threw to Mike for the touchdown, we've worked on that. We've hit that play a few times. It was nice to see that one Mike get open like that, him to hit him in stride and go for a touchdown, and then David just continued to get more confidence as the game went on. And then you see guys like Shipley going up and making plays in double coverage. I think once you have that type of rhythm at quarterback and receiver, then you start to see plays like Shipley made. He just goes up and makes a play for you, and all of a sudden, everything is just clicking your way.
And David trusts him just to put it on the spot.
David did. He put it on a spot where only he could get it, and Shipley went up and does what he does best.
Well, you're a quarterback, and I know you love to talk about quarterbacks, but you know better than anyone. It starts up front, and the offensive line has been protecting, also opening up holes. Another thing, it seems like the last few weeks we've seen them on the move more. You've been pulling. Dominic Espinosa's been killing guys downfield. It's a very athletic offensive line. What is the strategy behind getting them more on the move?
Well, like you said, I think using Dom in particular, using him out in space more. And so Coach Searle's done a great job with some schemes that we've been running and changing them up a little bit of how we're blocking them. and allowing Dom to get around and get in space because he can run, and that really helps us. So, you know, I think every week you try to look at, you know, how your team's evolving at each position. You know, Coach Searles does a great job of looking at the offensive line, saying, hey, this guy can run, this guy's doing a great job, this is going to help us better schematically if we do it like this. And then we put little wrinkles like that in there, and it just kind of evolved from the last 2 games, really, where Dom and the rest of the line have been pulling and putting themselves in position to get out there on backers faster. And I think as you run the plays like that over and over, they get more confidence in them as well.
Yeah.
And so Dom's done great. You saw in one touchdown run that Jonathan Gray had, it was Josh Cochran getting out there on a backer in a hurry and just kicking him out to get up inside that. And it was great by him just to get out there that fast, you know, and to know exactly what to expect in that situation, and it opened it up.
No, it's like running of the bulls, man. I mean, you think you're in Pomona. You got 300-pounders, but they're athletic.
Yeah, they're moving.
They're running around.
They're moving like that, and you'd like to see that.
Well, they were able to open up some holes for all your running backs. We saw Malcolm Brown finally for the first time. He'd been dealing with that ankle injury. What did you think of Malcolm Brown's first game back?
Well, it's good to get him back. You know, Malcolm, the one thing about Malcolm, he's very competitive. He wants to get out there. Obviously, you have to be the one as a coach to look at your personnel and decide, okay, what's best. We know he's got the heart to get out there. We've got to continue to let him improve. But to see him back on the field, to let him get some runs at the end of the game, I think was really good for him. That gets him back in the groove, gets him back in the field, and now, you know, having a chance to have a bye week going into TCU, that's really going to help us.
You do have that bye week, and let's talk a little bit about what you want to get accomplished. Obviously, you can see what TCU's been able to do defensively. Gary Patterson is a defensive guy. What do you need to get better at offensively this week to be ready for the Horned Frogs?
Well, we're going to have to spend time on TCU. You know,
so you'll do that right away.
Yeah, we will. We'll spend time on TCU. Obviously, you know, because of the defense they do play, how well coached they are. You know, I've had experience playing against TCU at Boise State, and know that those guys come into a game as prepared as any team we've ever played against. So we're going to have to get right after it and start looking at what they're doing and start to practice our schemes, and take really an extra week to prepare for them is what we're going to do. We'll also take some time this week to let some of our younger guys have opportunities to play that haven't played or that are redshirting, have some scrimmage situations in there towards the end of practice just to let them get a few live pops and really just have some fun. You know, they've been practicing on scout team and doing a lot of work behind the scenes that nobody knows about. Here's a chance for them to kind of cut it loose and enjoy themselves this week as well. But it's a very focused week on TCU. It's a week of us just getting ourselves healthy going into this next week. And really just preparing our minds to go out there and play our best game.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because you may know the Horned Frogs and what they do better than current coaches that have even been in the state of Texas but haven't played them. Is that going to help you out game planning for them?
Well, it gives me some experience, you know, in 2 previous games. You know, the Poinsettia Bowl we played them in, and then also played them in the Fiesta Bowl as well. And so, you know, those are 2 experiences that, you know, I can draw from and game film and things like that, and so can they. You know, so you know what they're looking at. But just understanding just how they prepare and what they look at and how they've prepared for this type of offense, you know, that's one thing I can't help our team with.
Well, Coach, you and the offensive coaches had a lot of pressure, not only to win this game, but based on one play. It's not fair that it came down to one play, but Texas fans are going to remember that for the rest of their lives. Thanks a lot. We appreciate the time, and we'll see you next week.
Okay, thank you.